Welcome to another video. Today, I'm going to talk about a pretty confusing topic in the Sonic lore, Blaze the Cat. Blaze is a pretty famous character in the franchise and appears in a lot of mainline Sonic games, and he's even in some spin-offs. Today, I'm going to cover basically all I can about her, and the game's story at least. Now with that said, grab your potato chip cookies and let's get into it. Now Blaze first appeared in Sonic Rush. Sonic Rush released in 2005 for the Nintendo DS. And fun fact, it introduced the boost mechanic, but Sonic Unleashed was the first time they put it in 3D. Now Sonic Rush's story kinda goes like this. The main story starts when Blaze, who is from a dimension called the Soul Dimension, is suddenly transported to Sonic's dimension. Fun fact, Blaze's dimension is sort of a mirror of Sonic's dimension. What I mean is Blaze is Sonic, but for her dimension, if that makes sense. But anyway, Blaze finds out powerful gems from her dimension called Soul Emeralds, her version of the Chaos Emeralds, are stolen by who we found out is Dr. Eggman. Fun fact, Eggman's real name is Ava Robotnik, and Eggman is a nickname Sonic called him once, and Eggman liked it. Now before the nerds come and correct me, I just want to say that the Japanese name was actually Ava Ragman originally, and the American name was Dr. Eggman. And that's just like a lore conclusion that they made afterwards. Now, to make things worse, Blaze has her own version of Eggman called Eggman... Yeah. And Eggman, I'm gonna call him Eggman N. Eggman N teamed up with Eggman from Sonic's dimension. Now, the rest of the story is basically Sonic and Blaze go through zones separately, and at one point, fight. Like an actual fight. But in the end, Sonic wins. But instead of ore farming on her, he helps her realize that they don't have to fight. And they team up and find the Chaos Emeralds and the Soul Emeralds and go against the final boss, the Egg Salamander. And they transform into their super forms. Sonic going super and Blaze turning into Burning Blaze. Now basically the whole game, Blaze wants to be alone and wants to do everything alone because she's a princess in her dimension. And she feels like she has the responsibility to do everything on her own and figure it out. In the end, she warms up to the idea of friendship and realizes she doesn't have to do everything alone. After all, it's easier with people helping you. Once they defeat the Egg Salamander, Blaze goes back home. By the way, this whole time their universes were being smushed together. So the Eggmen? I don't know. But both Eggman N and Eggman wanted to rule the world together. So their plan was to put both universes together with the machine. Now, when their universes were being split apart, they were floating, shaking hands. In this moment, you could feel them thinking, I'll see you again. Now, this moment led a lot of fans thinking, oh my god, so cute. But no, that's not where we're going. Fun fact, Blaze has fire powers and she views them as a curse. So, it's part of her character. Now, her story continues in Sonic 06. This is where things get confusing. So in Silver's campaign, the game, we see Blaze is there, but Silver is from the future. So now you're probably thinking, wait, is she from another dimension or from the future? And to that, I say, I don't know. But in Sonic 06, she's just basically Silver's companion. Now, in Sonic 06, there's this monster called Iblis. That's basically this fire monster, and he rules over the time that Silver's in. And near the end of the game, Blaze sacrifices herself to seal Iblis away. Now, it said she was sent to another dimension when she sacrifices herself. You can say, oh, so that's why she's in another dimension and she has fire powers, because of Iblis. But it said she was born into the royal family and born with her powers. And also, the royal family is in the other dimension. And according to that, in Sonic 06, in the end of the game, whatever happened in that game basically just gets erased. Because, like, they blow out Soloris Flame, which is, like, the main villain and what started off everything. So just to clarify, Soloris is like the main villain of like the whole game, and this is what he looks like. And they go back in time and erase, like blow him out, his flame, when he's like just a little one. So it erases the whole story of the game. But never mind that. Sonic 06 is a lost cause at this point. And she appears again in Sonic Rush Adventure, a sequel to Sonic Rush, where Sonic gets into Blaze's dimension, which is filled with water and pirates and stuff like that. Fun fact, Blaze is scared of heights and Sonic is scared of water. So again, like a mirror. She later appears in Sonic Generations as a side character. She doesn't have a lot of relevance in there. But apart from that, she's in the IDW comics, which are confirmed to be canon to the game's lore. But I'll get into that in part 2. And with that said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And if you enjoyed, please consider subscribing or leaving a like. It will help me a lot. Thanks for watching. Bye!